and it's 8 o'clock, and we're here at the intersection. And the longest running Zoom link, I don't know if it is or not, but it's been running the same Zoom link since 2020. So every Thursday, knock on wood, everybody, please knock on wood. Anyway, do we have any announcements this morning at the intersection that we want to hear about and need to know about?
And I'll make an announcement that registration is open for 2026 Pathways to Hope, the 10th annual conference. It's free. I'm going to put the link in the chat so that people can register. We hope that everybody will come. It's a great event, and Saturday is going to be especially for youth and people who work with youth, care about youth. So another added opportunity. So I'll put that in the chat.
Okay. And as Doug mentioned, that registration is already open, and it's at no cost, thanks to all the sponsors and partners that work with that, including the county and the city, which is great. I love the fact that it's both the county and city working together. It's just such a great expression. I think it's one of the larger things, public things that we do together. So other announcements. I know that in July, and we're in July, there is also a conference summit on domestic violence prevention and NOMAS. And so you're going to be getting more about that. There might even be somebody here on the screen who has the information, and I could look it up. So in July, we have domestic violence prevention. And then in August, we have Pathways to Hope Mental Wellness Conference. And in September, we have the Festival of Faiths. So I'm kind of giving you the key community-wide elements that are coming up in the next couple months. Great place to, meet everybody, to invite others to learn together. So wanted you to know all those things that are coming up as they do.
I want to make the announcement that is much more immediate.
Okay, Nargis.
Nargis, yes. So Heal Palestine International Organization, San Antonio is finally receiving a young boy, his sister and his mother, to come to San Antonio for surgeries and healing purposes. And Heal Palestine San Antonio at this time is looking for a host family. The medical team, transportation team, hospitality teams are already set in place, but we need the host family. I'll put details on Heal Palestine in the chat, and then whoever has that heart to open their home, or has somebody who has that space in their home, to fill out the host application so that they can go through that process. It will be approximately 6 months. The family will return to Egypt after they're well enough. That's that.
And if I remember, Nargis, he's like a young teen, and it's his mom, and then there's a younger sister. So
That's
it's a
correct.
family of 3, right?
That's correct. Yes. Yes, he's 14. He's going to turn 15 in September, and his sister is 6 years old. And we're very happy that his mother can come. So she'll be with him through all the process. But he needs a prosthesis on one of his legs, and he has a shoulder fractured that healed bad. And so that needs to be also looked at and taken care. And malnutrition and trauma. Kathy Woodward is the lead person on this, and I will also put her phone number in the chat so that any questions can be directed to her.
Those Woodwards, I tell you, some of you might know Scott. Scott Woodward from Oblate School of Theology, who has since retired just recently, but
I
they
have
belong.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Peter.
I have one quick announcement to try to get it in for today. Our Helping Hands Bridges to Care program at New Life Christian Center, we're having a virtual How to Heal and Deal with PTSD on this coming Monday. It's July the 7th at 6:30, and I'll put the link in the chat. Just excited about. Also, we'll be launching a couple of support groups here this summer as part of the work we're doing with our Helping Hands Bridges to Care program.
Great. Good work. And, a good plug that Bridges to Care continues through NAMI. And if your congregation isn't a part of one of those cohorts, to let Doug know and talk to Peter. He'll tell you all about it. So I do see that Eric is with us. And so I think we're going to give him as much time as we possibly can. Eric, I'm really hoping that you're going to give us kind of an update of where all things are as much as you can. I know that everything just seems and feels and probably is uncertain these days, but any little bit of certainty, at least then we know which way to turn, even though sometimes it's not turning in the favor we would like. So everyone, Eric Cooper. Eric's been with us before, President and CEO at San Antonio Foodbank. And did you just come back from like DC or something? Where were you?
I did, yeah. Last week, our team was in DC and just trying to make sure we're educating elected officials on some of their decisions and how that'll impact neighbors. And Yeah, excited to be on this morning and just share a little bit about what's happening at your San Antonio Food Bank. Quickly, most of you probably are somewhat familiar, but for those that aren't, we are one of the 200 food banks across the United States that make up Feeding America. Each community has a Feeding America food bank that serves a geographical area. For us, it's 29 counties here in Southwest Texas. So we go as far north as San Angelo and go down far south into LaSalle County, Catula. If you're familiar with some of those small cities, Crystal City, we go out to Seguin to the east, and then Rock Springs to the west. There's about 800 different organizations that we work with throughout those 29 counties. If your organization is in the service of others and you're providing food, we would love to connect. I know Kelly King is on the call and she can help dial you into what programs and services we have in partnering with organizations like yours to serve community. We have a lot going on right now with kids out of school and making sure that kids that are not accessing their national school lunch and breakfast programs get access to summer meals. We also have been gearing up around some of our farmers markets and fresh produce distributions. So if any of that would be helpful, please make sure that you connect with Kelly or myself. The food bank relies on donations, and we just yesterday entered into our new fiscal year FY26. For those nonprofits that have a fiscal year that they look after, they know that the first day is the worst, right? You're trying to now start a new budget that you believe that you're going to collect. So I know, we all come from different faith traditions, but all believe in faith. And I think that is how nonprofits budget, that we are going to exercise some faith. And the environment says otherwise, but our optimism and strategy, I think, can execute a successful accomplishment. And so we hope to collect roughly $190 million in food and about $45 million in cash to be able to execute on all of our obligations this next 12 months. And for us, we get a significant amount of food from the federal government through programs that run through the U.S. Departments of Agriculture.
Turn on the video.
to-
It's showing
to-
they can't see you.
Got a little bit of feedback going, but for us to be, when I say significant amount of food, roughly 15% of our total volume of food products comes through the federal government. So, 85% is really private. And, the benefit of integrating USDA programs into a local food bank is that blending of public and private support. On the food side, there's much more food generated from the food industry that comes through our organization than through the federal government. But through the federal government, we receive specific products that they might be purchasing to regulate markets. And I like to say we are the peanut butter to their jelly, or we're the pasta to their marinara, and it comes together. And it's critical. But over the last 6 months, some decisions have been made to reduce the amount of support that we directly get from USDA, programs that allowed us to purchase local food, and purchases of specific markets like protein and dairy were eliminated. And so our inventory is a little leaner than it's been. And, I think it will be us exercising a lot of hard work and faith to get where we want to get. But it is also been a climate where not just direct hits to the food bank have happened, but there's a proposed indirect hit in some direct family supports that come through a couple of programs, specifically the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, and Medicaid. SNAP and Medicaid are intertwined, and really the result of an economy that doesn't provide employment sufficient for families to meet their needs. And I think that's really why SNAP and Medicaid exist, is because income is not awarded to hardworking employees and benefits. And so for many employers throughout the United States and here in our city, they're paying a low hourly wage. They don't offer benefits package, oftentimes no time off for sick leave or holidays. And so, it's a struggle for many families to make ends meet. And so the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program helps them to put food on their table, and Medicaid allows them to access the doctor. So if you're tracking, the federal government over the last 6 months has really been working on what they call budget reconciliation, and that is trying to right size the federal budget. And as a business leader, as a nonprofit organization, I value that so much that they are working to balance the budget and be fiscally responsible. My staff on the call know I use the term squeeze the buffalo off the nickel, and we want to make sure that we are efficient. And I think we all would hope that our federal government is efficient. And so with that budget reconciliation, they're starting to cut expenses and trying to reprioritize the budget. And in that debate, you start to see where the nation's priorities are. And I think that's where the opportunity is to educate and inform so that we can fund our priorities. And the Republican Party has been pretty aggressive on wanting to retain tax cuts that were given to corporations and high net worth individuals. And so if they're to do that, then there's a revenue loss. So we're going to take less revenue into the federal budget because of giving tax breaks to those businesses and people. And that's tightening how much money is available to cover those priorities. They're valuing uh, border security and making sure that the nation has secure borders, so limiting the traffic of migrants into the United States. And they're investing in extracting individuals that have come to the United States. And so those priorities to be financed need revenue. And so decisions to cut programs like the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program and Medicaid have been a part of the conversation. The amount that is being debated has been different from the House and the Senate, and the Senate just passed this week their version, and it will be debated in the House, and then the goal of the party is to have a bill on the president's desk by tomorrow that would allow one big beautiful bill to be passed. And that term, one big beautiful bill, is this budget reconciliation bill that would potentially eliminate $200 billion from the supplemental assistance program and about $900 billion from Medicaid. What we worry is that that reduction of support, obviously for families, will drive them into the lines at our 800 partner sites and to the food bank programs to try to make ends meet. And it not only hurts those families and stresses the charitable food system, but it also stresses the for-profit system. If you think about the reduction of that support in a rural community like South Texas, there aren't very many grocery stores. These grocery stores become oases in that food desert that give families access to be able to buy food. For many South Texas grocery stores, it's a struggle. HEB would suggest these are not very profitable stores to keep open, but they keep them open because they are a food lifeline to those communities. And many of the residents in South Texas rely on the SNAP program because of low wages to make up the food that they need to feed their families. That loss of SNAP benefits will decrease the revenue that these independent grocery stores, small bodegas, are able to receive in income to keep their stores open. And we worry that there may be some retail grocery store closures across rural communities, and that will cause an additional travel burden on those residents in those rural communities to have to come farther to get nutrition. And that's a tragedy. Mario Blado and I, who handles our government relations, met with several, healthcare leaders and lots of advocates in DC who suggested the same effect will happen to rural hospitals. It was suggested that 1 in 3 rural hospitals would be, in jeopardy of closing should this $900 billion be cut from Medicaid. The Senate did come up with a strategy to help bolster some of those hospitals with kind of an emergency fund. I think it was like 15 billion. I need to be fact checked there, but so it's kind of odd rather than, hey, just give families Medicaid and let the hospitals earn money through care. There's this safety net pot that can maybe help their balance sheet should they fall into struggle. So that's the debate. It's just like, what is the priorities going to be? The House, has some other issues that they're bringing forward, but we believe that they will pass this bill. It isn't as bad as it was when it originated from the House and the Senate. This recent version of the Senate and some of the process that the bill's gone through is reducing the amount that was proposed initially. There are some programs that benefit nutrition education that have been zeroed out. Um, uh, it'll be interesting to see how nutrition education is valued in USDA with the emerging interest in HHS, with RFK's commitment to make America healthy again. And so we're watching that closely. We're looking for opportunities to bring strategy back to our city that could maybe help nourish. We're anxious about USDA's programs and what they will look like in the future. We've had a long history of partnering with USDA. We have infrastructure. We have those 800 distribution sites. We understand supply chain and cold chain. We can move product effectively, and we're just making sure that they continue to leverage the assets that have been developed over decades to make sure people get nourished. So the fight is not over, but I think it's coming to a close, and our community then will have to just respond to where the shortfalls are based on the decisions that were made by those elected officials that represent all of us. And so I'm going to pause there and maybe open it up for questions. And I know Mario is also on the call, who might be able to blend in some perspective that I have not shared, but uh, we're anxious. It's not what we would have hoped would happen, but we're committed to do what we can to move our community forward and continue to nourish the families that we have the privilege of serving.
We're close. I see we have a hand. We're close to the wire. And so, of course, my obvious question is what people can do like today, because that's what it means, right? It means today, if we haven't already, right? So, what would be the most effective thing for people to do on this day? And then Alice has her hand up.
Yeah, I think specifically, Kelly or Mario, we can put in our link, which can connect you directly to, your elected official. And I think letting them know it's important not to cut Medicaid or SNAP, that those are important safety nets, and encourage them. We're all people of faith, and I think that is clearly what's absent from the one big beautiful bill is the teachings of faith tradition. This bill is for Christians, it is absent the teachings of Jesus, and we need to make sure that we raise our voice and do what we can. I think it's never too late to offer prayer, but let's make sure we offer a voice to those elected officials, specifically Republicans in the House. I think would be the most strategic at this time.
Thank you. Alice.
Hey, first of all, Eric, you speak so beautifully and so eloquently, and I love the way you described all this because I don't talk that way when I talk about it. So thank you for giving me new language. I really appreciate the new language you have shared with me. And that's a wonderful way to put it because I like to use the word harmonize. It harmonizes the ideas of, I'm not asking you to do anything or think, keep your ways, but let's harmonize in some way so that all of us are safe. The other thing is, when it comes to our local leaders, San Antonio may feel a certain way, but how can we, as those working in the social services, harmonize our voice and who can lead us through that. This is a great group, but I don't know, if any of us are that, yeah, I'm going to take all the voices and we're going to move together so that they can hear us across Texas. Don't put me in charge of that. My language would be so different. I'm still learning, Eric. I'm going to come to you. And then my question after 2 comments is, have you heard anything from our local philanthropy? Have you gotten a look across the room or a wink wink or something going, we can still take care of at least our space. We may not, and show how San Antonio comes together. What is your thought on that?
Alice, hey, if any of these words are helpful, that is makes my day. And it sometimes can get frustrating, and so some of those words and frustration. Uh, um, but I think there's a couple of thoughts. You know, these cuts that are being proposed could be lightened with a strategy in the bill to cost shift expenses to the states. There's about 10 states that they would shift that cost burden to the counties. California, North Carolina are a couple of those where the SNAP program is administered at a county level versus a state level. Those contributions that would come from the states would come in like a match or a percentage, and Texas, it's estimated to be about 1.4 to 1.8 billion dollars that Texas would have to come up with. So we know our state legislature, their commitment to balancing their budget, where priorities shake out and what's funded and not funded. And our fear is that the state will just not put dollars into their contribution to support the SNAP program. And it's not unprecedented behavior, right? Some of you might have heard recently that USDA's program, the summer EBT, or summer electronic benefit transfer, which is a strategy to give moms $120 for 11 weeks of summer. So total, it's about $1.10 a meal for a child that would have gotten a breakfast and lunch in school. States can say, hey, if you have kids that would have been in school, we're going to give you a small stipend, this $120 per kid, to help purchase groceries at local retailers to put food on the table for them. And it's a great program. During the pandemic, it blessed a lot of families, so that USDA saw success and they wanted to continue it, offered states the ability to do it. Texas declined. We pushed with many of you as advocates in this last Texas session to get the House and the Senate in Texas to support it. They did. And kind of in the midnight hour on Sunday night, the governor of Texas vetoed running the summer EBT program, which removed that food from the mouths of children across Texas. Literally. I mean, it just doesn't add up, because there's nothing better that we could be doing than feeding a child to nourish them, helps them grow healthy and helps them learn. And it was a small amount per child, but it added up to a significant estimation of about $24 million over the summer that, South Texas kids would have benefited from. And so when we think about how local entities will step up, the gap is so big. When you think about the San Antonio Food Bank, as I started, we're going to deliver this year, hopefully, about $190 million in food. The SNAP cuts eliminates for San Antonio an estimated $230 million in food. So it will wipe me out, the SNAP cut, right? Like I would have to more than double to be able to meet that need. And so I think that's the sobering reality of, where philanthropy or even local public support will have the challenge is these cuts are so unprecedented, that they're at a level that, yeah, will be staggering. And I think we're just all going to have to lean in and do what we can. And yeah, no good news there. So, but I know it's gonna. We're all going to be given an opportunity to be our best and to give a little bit more. And I just pray that that comes through, and we'll do what we can with what we've got.
Whenever we're having these conversations every week, I'm also putting it through the lens of compassion and the skill sets that we practice there, especially within systemic compassion. And one of those practices is accountability, and this is very historical, nothing new, right? But yeah, we're going to, give more and work together more. I've talked to several other nonprofits recently. How do we look at philanthropy different? How are we going to, move forward? And we need to have a creative, I think, conversation about that. Like how are we going to do this for real? But one of the strong skill sets is accountability. Like what do we do with that gap and those who may be on a part of the gap that can make a big difference, right? And how do we do that? Gandhi was always ridiculed by his followers that he hung out with rich people. And they were like, what are you doing with them? Holding them accountable was his response. So, I mean, that's part of the strategy. It's not the whole strategy, but it's got to be part of it when we're looking at an entire system. So it's 8:32. Eric, can you stay with us a few minutes longer, or do you need to go? You can't go if you need to. You can stay. Great. So we'll continue that conversation in a second. It's 8:33. And so we try to get most of the information on what's going on at the intersection before 8:30. So thank you, Eric, for doing that and bringing us up to speed. I want to do something different this week. And what I try to do every week when we're preparing for the next intersection, I try to listen as best I can to the community and what's going on in the world and who do we really need to hear from. So this is what I'm going to do different. I'm inviting everybody who's listening today. What is the next thing we need to hear? What do we need as leaders to be hearing about at this point in time, based on what's happening in our current context, but also what we hear among and within community? So if you want to put that in chat, that would be great. So a broader listening is what I'm trying to do this morning. More ears listening to what's going on. So, and then we'll see you next week at the intersection if you have to leave us today. We did have one question in the chat. Eric, can volunteers help you to offset some of your losses and close the gap? I think part of what that is how, because I think the answer is yes. But is there something specific?
Yes, the answer is 100%. For us to squeeze the buffalo off the nickel, we need as many volunteers as we can, and you all make us efficient. So all ages, all abilities, all the time. We've got our kitchens that are doing meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner 365 days a year. So we need volunteers there. Melons are being harvested off of our farms. We've got watermelons and cantaloupe and a version of a honeydew that looked beautiful as I watched the volunteers bring in some of those in. We have our warehouse and our food distribution. Some of you might have leaned in on our very large food distribution that occurred this weekend. But yeah, so please bring your youth, bring your Bible study groups. Anyone and everyone is welcome to serve. You can host a food drive. That physical food goes a long way. And then, like we mentioned, raising our voice, not stopping, continuing to advocate for those that struggle, will be critical. So,
I like your words about innovation in disruption. I'm even wondering about at the intersection next week about beginning that conversation. How can we be more innovative, and what might that look like? And who can lead us in that? How do we move that forward? We do have
well,
another question. Go ahead,
yeah, I
Eric.
would say just real quick. I mean, I think for all of us in these moments where there's such devastation from cuts, we slip into our defensive stances, right? Um, Coach Pop would say, it's time to move to offense, guys. And so in that offense, think about how to play the game a little differently. There is going to be some gains in different areas as a result of this disruption. And I think we can come out of it maybe in a different way. It's hard to see now, but if we're not really working to look for those opportunities because of our defensive stance, we're going to miss them. So I think, trying to innovate in times of disruption is a good strategy. So
Right, and there's some little conversation, not little, there's conversation happening in chat about corporate sponsors and, going directly to, larger organizations within the system. So like beyond individuals, is there a strategy there that we know that's going on? Or maybe you share, if you have a strategy already happening at the food bank like that, if you could share that with us. Then I see
well, we're
Beverly.
Yeah, we're working on it. I know, Alice, as you said, language resonated with you. I think learning the new language, not to be offensive, but and your words of accountability. Um, this is the largest migration of income that will occur from the poor to the rich. This bill, right? It is going to trickle down in such a way that it's the opposite of Robin Hood. It's actually robbing from the neighborhood. It is taking money from those that have the least and shifting it to those that have more. And I think we need to hold those that are benefiting accountable for a greater role in the safety net. Those tax breaks were given with expectation. And I think we have to hold those accountable and give them the opportunity to try to fill some of these gaps. And so we don't want to push people away. We don't want to alienate. Hunger is not a red or blue issue. Hunger is a red, white, and blue issue. It is an American challenge that we need to come together to solve. We want hunger to always be bipartisan, right? It's apolitical. It's a human need, and it doesn't discriminate when someone's hungry, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. And so we need both parties working on the solutions. So I think the other challenge for all of us is to bring the parties together so that they don't blame or point fingers, but there is a level of accountability, and right now that accountability is significantly with the Republican Party's decisions to make these cuts. So
Beverly has her hand up. Beverly? Okay. She did ask in chat who to contact at the food bank in terms of volunteering and this kind of work. So maybe
Erica,
Kelly.
yeah, Erica, I'm so sorry. You don't deserve this, neither do any of us. But I wanted to share something with you, but you will know this from just your alliances. And we just recently had a win. And this was because you have put a local face to this pain. And I mean, we all hear this out of the stratosphere, but it bothers me. This has affected you and has motivated me. I just felt something on the inside that I haven't, amidst all the noise. But I wanted to share with you, we had a cut, and we got this letter, saying that Doge decided we were not eligible for something, even though we were already receiving these money, we were not eligible. And so most people would have said, "Oh no, I guess," and then just took it. We fought back, and we literally worked with our lobbyists in DC, and we went straight to the law and to the OMB regulations. And we actually were able to prove, we just got the letter early this morning saying that they reversed their decision in the cut. And what I want to say to you is, everybody, amidst all of the wringing of hands and what they forgot to do is look at the law. And so we went back and looked at the statutes. And what they did is they put out a NOFO, a notice of funding opportunity, that all of us apply to. And then they changed the rules in the NOFO. And no one really caught it, but they used it to start cutting things. And when they just happened to cut the wrong person, they just happened to cut the wrong program. It's Antonio. And because when I saw it, and we literally got all the way to the White House, visited with the people. We found the law, we worked on lobbies, we found the regulations, and what they did was absolutely illegal, and they had to reverse it. So I'm saying this to you because I know that all of you all, I bet you they have done some of these things so quickly, and all of us are feeling the impact that we didn't go back to look at the details. So I'm just saying to you, for the people you work on the national level, to go back, because some of the things that they have done they're not allowed to even do in law. They cannot change the law by changing things in a NOFO. There's a whole process that has to go through. So I just want to say that to you because we would have just given up as well. And we just got mad enough and decided to do something else. And we would use that energy to go back and see how we can fight them on the legal, and in this case, who won. So
congratulations. Yeah, no, I think that is, and that really is the strategy I'm talking about. And I think, Anne, you highlighted accountability, right? And you have to be accountable to the law. And hey, we're all friends, but if we have to have a lawsuit or we have to look at the law or whatever we got to do to hold someone accountable, we got to continue to work together. Sometimes it is an interpretation, and so clarity. They're moving fast, especially Doge. So yeah, I mean, thank you for the strategy you invoke to retain the level of support that is needed to have the impact here in our community. So yeah, it's a great highlight.
There's a great quote in chat. The world is full of breathtaking opportunities disguised as intractable problems. So there's something there, right? It's 8:44. We're going to do something new, and hopefully it'll bring a little hope to everybody. And and if you're uncomfortable singing in front of people and you want to stop your video, Eric, you can't stop yours, however. So, but I'm inviting everyone to open up your audio. Okay. Open up your audio. And if you're just uncomfortable, close your video. But and somebody would know what this is called, but I'm going to sing a phrase. And then everybody's going to sing that phrase back to me. And then I'm going to sing another phrase. So that's whatever that's call and right, that kind of singing. So is everybody ready to sing? We don't see you singing, so it's all fine. So everybody's going to
We're
sing.
ready. We're
We're
ready.
ready. Okay. Repeat after me. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday
to you.
We're talking about Eric, by the way. Happy birthday
Aw.
to
Birthday
me.
to you.
Happy birthday
to
To me.
Every day we are born. Every day
Every
we
Every day we
are
are
born.
born.
Every day we are
Every day we
free.
are
Every
born.
day we
We
are
are
Every day we are
free.
free.
Okay, hopefully we'll be better at fundraising. But happy birthday, Eric.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Uh,
Eric.
yeah.
We're having fun.
Yeah,
Bless you,
harmonize.
sir.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
And it is true. We each have a birthday every day. And so for that gift, I know I am grateful to have the opportunity of one more breathtaking day. So thank you all for being at the intersection, and we will see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
You. Happy
Let us know how
fourth.
to.
Bye-bye.
Y'all too. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.